Chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and being present today. Welcome. I call the meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. Roll call, Reynaldo Romero. Mikey Changachi. Elena.
Ellen Costa, sorry.
Ellen.
Suzanne Soriano.
Which give me Judy?
I said my name.
Judy.
I did, I said it, no, Julie Padron.
Oh, I just wanted to the other side of the
I
thing.
wasn't sure how it was doing that.
Thank you. I'm Mayor Del Balding. We have a quorum, all members present.
Okay. Order of business, county deferrals, additions, deletions.
I would like to add, if possible, if you guys would be okay with discussing the mail out. And what will be part of the mail out.
Okay.
Is that old business or new business?
It would be a new business, but it's up to you guys. You have to. Someone has to.
I'll make a motion to add to the agenda the rollout.
Do we have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Adding it to new business B.
hold on. I'm not looking at what's already in the agenda.
You're looking at the minutes. There's
No. Agenda?
There's one that's the minutes, and that looks almost the same.
Oh, it's on the back.
The agenda.
Don't give it back.
I wasn't here, I wasn't here at the budget, I'm gonna call it the last meeting, which we discussed budget, and I know that. We did an increase to the security guards and there was a discussion, an actual motion who failed about new post orders. Would that conversation that I want to bring up again, would that fall under security guard services, old business B, or should I add that as a new business item?
That would fall under old business would be I, and it would be the security guards
Post orders,
questions.
got the motion?
Yeah.
I would like to motion to add under 5, add a letter I as an Indian, to discuss the security guard post orders. Is there a second?
We have a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Post orders?
Post orders.
All in favor?
I,
All opposed?
thank you.
Okay. Moving on, public comments. Please state your name and address and
Okay, my name is Maritza Quintela. I'm from Lake Cynthia, 14820 Redness Place, Miami Lakes 33016. The reason I'm here again is because in the last meeting, I requested to see if the pressure cleaning was gonna be done at the gate. According to this, it was gonna be approved,
According to the minutes,
yes,
it has not been completed yet.
no. It hasn't been approved.
It hasn't been completed yet. It is something that we're working to get done. It hasn't been completed yet.
Do you have an idea more or less?
We're getting the quote, and then once we're able to go ahead and move forward with it, it'll be done before the end of the year, before the end of the fiscal year. So October.
Okay, all right, at least I have that. Okay, I have another issue.
Sure.
You know the storage in the back of the gate,
Yes.
the guardhouse?
Mhm.
When they're gonna fix it, it's been like for a couple of months. I took a picture.
So to fix, I can have the handyman work to fix on that.
It's been like that for a couple of months already.
what's wrong with it?
One of the.
Why can't we see it? So
You guys haven't seen it?
we just drive past.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't stop by.
No, I'll take a look at everything.
Well, thank you. That's good.
I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. Yes.
No, and I have another issue.
See it, can you?
No.
Maybe we'll hook, we'll know.
What?
No, you got some powder on there.
Oh, that's my
Foundation,
makeup.
that's foundation, very good foundation.
Yes. Go ahead and see the picture.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, I didn't even, yeah, thank you for that bring that, I mean.
Oh.
thank you. That's that. Again, 3 times today. Jesus. One of his a win. The last.
No.
No, it's been like that for a while.
And the other issue I have is, they changed flowers. And they didn't clean the weed in there. They're leaving all the weed next to the flowers there.
They did not do what I'm saying?
Weeds?
The weeds, they didn't. So the job is not.
I see. I will, I'll send an email tomorrow, morning about.
Because, see, the flowers are here, but these are plants that we have
Yeah,
there, and they left all that in there.
understood. Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that to my attention.
Okay, that's all right.
Thank you for bringing that.
Yep.
That makes us better. So.
Does. Appreciate it.
Okay, so then I'm leaving. Thank you. Are you sure you wanna say?
No, I see a future board member there.
We'll stick around.
Okay. Before you leave, you guys continue, before you leave, I'm gonna give you my contact information, so you can.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm gonna keep sending you stuff. Don't give me your email. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can keep going, you're on board.
Old business, approval of the minutes.
The minutes that you have there, are the ones from, May,
April
April?
22nd.
April, I saw that. So that's, I was not here for the last meeting. So I want to, staff not here, I want to see how other, boards address the issue that if the secretary is not present, how our minutes take it. Because I was trying to go back to watch that, I couldn't find it anywhere on the website to find that meeting. So, we need to
Yeah.
address as to how is that taken care of, because what if I just never come back? Are they gonna be nominated? No, who wants to be secretary?
I was the secretary before you.
Thank you, darling, I know.
I can tell you what I was told. You can ask again, because sometimes we get told different things. I was told it's my responsibility
To
to
watch.
it and take the minutes from there.
Yeah, so I tried, but I couldn't find it. And it was only 3 minutes long. How long did it last?
There was he would be the one to answer to find out, it was hard for them to
Yeah.
find, there was.
Mr.
people-
Yanis, I was just asking a general question as to how do other boards address the issue of if a secretary is not present at the meeting, who takes the minutes?
That is a great question, and I was thinking about that the other day afterwards, and, honestly, that's really up to, it's not in writing as far as who takes the minutes after the fact. Typically, when, you have the recordings, a lot of people, even if they don't attend, they'll go back to the recordings and watch it.
I tried to do that. I was not able to find the budget meeting.
Yeah.
minutes. I couldn't find it.
It's on Vimeo, and I'm gonna send the link to you afterwards, where it has all the videos that pop up after, so you have it. But in the event that you can't do it, I'll go ahead and get it done. I told you, I always spoke through email, that I will go ahead and get the.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure I don't know whether that's something that awareness and we can.
Or- Yeah, that's typically, there's nothing in the orders that's set up
There's
for
no
that.
standard.
Yeah, there's no substitution. It's really your call how you wanna.
Is there somebody on the board interested in being the backup?
No, the answer would
Any
be.
volunteers? No volunteers?
No.
Nobody, isn't it the newbie have to take over that responsibility?
That's what I heard.
I'm the secretary on 2 other boards.
I heard the
differ.
newest one
No,
has to do it.
No,
I even
I
as a
do,
backup?
no,
No.
We will, again, because
Then I heard it's
I
a
was
second
trying, I
image.
hate to have, there are no minutes, and then if I, then I really look for it. Actually, you can even find this committee. And I searched everywhere today. But anyway, but we can.
I'll be honest with you, I have been able to find the video in the past, but for that meeting, I wasn't able to.
It was,
And I emailed,
it was,
you and Jeremy and, I forgot, it was, one of you sent me the link, so,
yeah,
Thank you.
that's
I know it
one
wasn't
way.
easily.
But I
couldn't-
normally can locate it, but I wasn't able to locate it.
I'm
on my
fine,
own.
I just want to bring it up, just, so we're all.
no, and I appreciate you bringing that up because I'm gonna talk to, our social media team to see if there's any way that we can make it easier to find, whether it's maybe on our, as soon as you go to NSD's, one option that I was thinking of was, what if we just put them all on our NSD's page? And it automatically links to the site,
To the video.
to the videos.
Oh,
So you just go to the NSD's and click on it, it'll take you to all NSD meetings. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to them and see if that's possible. I think it should be possible, so. And that way makes it easier not only for you, but
For
for
everybody.
those watching at home,
Yeah.
so.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any changes or, add on to the minutes or changes?
Hope it can.
Anyone?
Bueller.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
I think.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes, accept the minutes. Security guard services, updates and reports. You're on.
Thank you, sir. So John Fransdorf, SFM Security Services, and George Gonzalez. Share with you the report for the last quarter. No major highlights, and I know that in reviewing the agenda, some of the issues that I wanted to bring up are already being discussed, so I don't want to steal the board's thunder on this. Total 49 reports for the quarter. And the number of vehicles entering has been fairly steady, 42,000 in April, 45,000 in May, and 40,000 in June. So a total of 129,000 almost. I know that we're gonna be discussing a couple of issues that are relevant to our services, one of them being protection from the sun for the security officers. And we are gonna be proposing a solution for the board's approval. And minor issues reported by officers include perhaps the need for a pest control visit, if that could be scheduled. They seem to be indicating that there's a lot of bugs in the area. And the need to take a look at the restroom, because apparently it needs some repair. And if you have any questions, of course, we're here to provide any answers, and that's all I have.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm gonna say 42,000, more or less, each month.
Yeah.
Is that going in all four gates? Only the entrance gates?
Only the one that we monitor, which is the one right next to the guardhouse.
So
So the visitor lane
Right, folks entering with their access cards are not
in
part of
that,
this. Yes,
That's a lot.
It is.
okay.
That's a lot.
Sure.
So long.
I thought that was all three gates
I was everybody too.
So I thank you, because I know that we, at the last meeting that I attended, which was April. We asked for the reports to be given to us ahead of time, and that was done, so thank you very much. I'm not sure I really understand the report.
If you want, I mean, I don't know if it's part of the board's agenda, but if you want, we can walk you through the report, because yes, we understand that some of this.
I would love it,
information-
I would love it, because you're gonna send it every time we have a meeting, and I'm gonna look at it and go. Okay, so if you, I mean, I have it up already, so if there's a way to walk us through it, I would appreciate that.
Depends on whether or not you have the time for us to go through it, but, and if not, we can find an alternative way,
Yeah.
whatever the board decides.
It's up to you guys.
Well, it's, I have the first one I opened up as an analysis, and it's 4 pages, most of them is pictures.
Okay.
Give us a quick synopsis about. What we're looking at.
Okay, so we're looking at the incident analysis. So you're looking first at the upper left-hand corner where it says incident category. These are the incident categories that were created mainly by JP for us to be able to document the different type of events that we're recording. This was done primarily with the purpose of identifying which were the issues with the gate arm. So we wanted to differentiate between the different types of situations where we find the gate arm not functioning.
Okay,
The one on the right, I will disregard that because this is used whenever we have multiple accounts under one job number. In this case, we only have one job for this site, so it's only one that we need to count.
can I interrupt and go to the first one?
Yes,
So in the first one on the right, it starts zone supervisor visit.
yes,
That means within that from April 1st to June 30th, supervisor visited our guard gate 7 times.
correct.
Okay. New hire training, quality control, suspicious activity, PD what?
Called.
Okay. Do we know what that was about?
I can give you the detail. I mean, obviously, I don't have all the detail for
JP,
46.
do you know?
It-
Do the staff, do you guys
I
learn when
do-
there's a?
Yeah, I
police
get the
call?
same reports that they get. And
Actually,
if my,
I can tell you of memory that there was a report because a resident reached out to the guard indicating that his wife had been followed
yes,
to the front of the house, and the vehicle that was following her decided to park in front of the house and turn the lights off and just stood there. So the resident called the officer, who in turn called PD and provided the address. PD responded, and also our supervisor responded. And when they arrived, the vehicle was no longer there.
Okay,
So we responded to a call from a resident that requested PD to provide support.
okay. I'm gonna just keep going down. Gate arm struck by vehicle 5 times.
Yes,
So would that be incidences where the vehicle that struck it, those notes were taken and reported to town so the town can try to recover?
of course.
You get that, JP? Yes?
absolutely.
Is there reports that we get? Cause I heard during the budget meeting, we had recovered 0
We haven't recovered anything for your
for the,
location, but we have been sending them out and working with. If needed, which in this case, I give a certain amount of days to respond to us. They don't get back to us, then we go through the insurance. As I'm sure all of you are aware, insurance processes can take very long.
do you think that as part of our ongoing, we can add, or in the gate arm area, we can add where we get information as to how many people we're collecting against, and if it's at the insurance stage or if they're being paid? Because what happens is, like, I heard the budget, and the year before that, we did the budget, I think the same question came up, so we're reporting all these gate arms being struck, and what's being recovered?
Well, so
My
It's
question is, can
dependent-
it be, just like we do an LPR update and a card access update, can we do an update as to? We have 8 claims pending, they're both at the waiting time to see if the vehicle owner pays before we send it.
yeah, I mean, that's up to you. If you guys, if that is something that you guys want to add to the agenda on regular basis, that is your call to vote on, and I can go ahead and have those reports as to pending, how much is pending. I don't know if it's the best to provide that information or put that as information as far as the insurance and the,
No, I just
Legal
wanna know is
form and
how
all
many
that
people are how many claims are pending and what state is that?
that's fine. If you
I need a
guys,
motion to add it to our ongoing.
well, I
agenda.
mean, so
We just
you-
added to the agenda.
You
right?
just add it to the agenda. You just have to have Rennie, who makes the agendas, add it to the agenda.
You want the total incidences and status?
Yeah, status of payment. I mean, that should just take us a minute or two. Maybe the first time would be a little bit longer, but after that, I think it's just hearing numbers.
Got it.
Um,
Can you give me 1 second? Let me see if I can get this on the screen.
I'm gonna, I'm sorry. Is yours having recording issues?
No, I'm trying to share the screen so I could share.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, I can ask, the other ones are self-explanatory, except the very top, the one that says client complaint. Is that, client complaint is the town complaint or resident complaint?
Both.
Both. Do you know what those were about?
No, I don't remember those off the top of my head, but I can also do the research.
Okay,
so if you want to go through it real quick, I have it on the screen now.
Okay.
That way,
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so this is the other report called the analytic report. So if you can scroll down. Okay, here are the days of the week and divided by morning and afternoon, or AM or PM.
I'm sorry, John, can you get on the other side because you're blocking the camera right now? Yeah, there you go.
Sorry about that. So this is basically using the 49 reports, and they're being distributed by day of the week and by time. So this would be useful if we were to probably create a report for like a year. And it would tell you where is it that we're finding more activity. So the higher percentage indicates, when we are busier, if you want to call it that way. And we may be able to scroll down and determine what is the reason why we're busier on those days and at those times. Okay. This is the same, only that instead of being a percentage, it provides you with a color and a column chart. This is again a representation of the number of incidents per month. Again, if we do this over a longer period of time, it's going to give you a more detailed analysis. We meet every quarter, so that's why I provide the report for the last 3 months. However, I could run the report for like last year and include the last 3 months if you want to see a bigger trend.
understood.
Here is the same percentage distribution, but again, days of the week and per month. This is the incident count per month.
And the incidents aren't just simply hit the guard gate or anything like that. It could be any incident and what.
Would it be any incident like what we were talking about before? Anything that's on that circle?
Correct. The
Would come
only
into
thing,
this.
the only meaningful thing that is not included here, and this is because of statistical reasons, are the vehicle reports. Because when you have 42,000 out of 49, that's gonna skew the whole chart.
In order to keep going.
And this is again, the number of incidents. And again, this is where you can see the numbers being skewed because you're counting the number of vehicles too that came in as reports. And the reason why these are reports is remember that we're using the software to document each and every time a vehicle enters.
The visitor lane.
Visitor
The
list.
The
visitor lane.
visitor lane.
Correct. And this is a count per day. So if you want to know on a specific day how many vehicles entered. And again, this is useful because you may have a day where you can see an unusual number of vehicles coming in or an unusually low number of vehicles coming in, like here on June 4th or on June 12th, the number dropped. So again, there may be a reason for that, and we just need to drill down to determine the reasons. So that's the first report. That's the analytic report, which is not the one that we were looking at before. Now you want to switch over to the analysis report.
Oh, I don't know what just happened. That is not what I wanted. There we go. There we go.
All right. So would you scroll down? Okay, here's the first pie chart that we were reviewing. This one, as I mentioned, is only one account, so this one won't make any difference. Here you're looking at the location of where the incidents occurred. In this case, we have the visitor entry gate, which is where most incidents occurred. We have the exit gate. We have a visitor, and that may be incident with visitors. The residential gate, which is the middle gate in this case, and no location more than likely is the guardhouse itself. This is a representation again of the number of incidents that occurred per month. So it shows you just a graph of that. This is again the number of incidents per day of the week. And here they're divided by levels, by severity levels. So we normally categorize them based on the severity of the incident. Normally, high level incident is the one that has the most severity.
Can you give an example of the?
We call the police. This is another useful report for us because it will tell us the time of the day and the number of incidents that we recorded at that time of the day. So again, it shows us how busy we are at certain times. It tells us that between 9 and 10 and between noon and 1 p.m. is when we had the least number of incidents happening in the community. Whereas between midnight and or 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. or 11 p.m. is when we reported the largest number of incidents occurring. And again, remember, all this data is going to be more meaningful when you look at longer trends.
So, can I help you on that one?
Yes.
Is there, from these reports, is there a way of like the daily cars that go in? Cause I saw like 1,400.
Yeah.
Is there a way to know it? What's the high peaks of the day as to how many cars are coming in? Like, this is incidents, so here the incidents are happening between 7 and 8 in the morning, and like you said, 11.
Yes. We
Is there a
would do-
way to be able to know of the 1,400 cars coming in?
At what time they're coming in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what the peak,
Yeah, we can. Absolutely. It's not part of this report, but we can generate a report for that if you want.
okay.
Sure.
Whatever additions or things that you guys want to add. to the
I
report,
think it's useful
Now's a good time.
for reasons of the discussion of what ensued at the last meeting that wasn't there. Just want to know is what are the high peak times of when,
Yeah, we can provide that.
if you can look at a trend.
Absolutely, we can do it.
All right, thank you.
Also, keep in
I don't have to
mind,
do anything further with that direction. Staff takes care of it?
Yeah. well, that's the conversation.
I don't know if it's a motion or something.
No.
Right.
Keep in mind that the 42,000 that come in per month, that is, it's such a high number because not everyone's using the residential lane.
I'm
I'd
going
say
there.
50%.
I'm going there.
Yeah.
100% going there.
All right, so here is, again, a detail of all the categories of incidents that we have registered in the system and the days of the week. So just you can have a representation of which day of the week things happen. If you go down, this shows the same, but per month. Moving down. This is the location by day of the week. And the location per month. So again, each incident is categorized by day, by month, by time, by incident category. And so that allows us to basically generate multiple reports for that data for analytical purposes.
Thank you.
Move on. Okay. We have an access card update.
So we had a whopping 5 come in.
Huh?
However,
3 were mine.
3 were yours.
No joke.
However, this is the funny part, 2 were returned. From another, somebody that was renting.
Oh.
They moved out and they purchased it for while they were renting. And they didn't know what to do with the card, so they just brought it back
Yeah, I mean,
instead of giving it back to the homeowner. So I'm just trying to find out what to do with that. I have them here at the office for now, but yeah, so we went from 3 of them were yours and
let's see if we can get creative somehow and. You know, you were talking about the mail out, maybe we could put something in the mail out that we could. On one of the festivals or park things that happens on a weekend, that we could put offer it to them. During that a Saturday that they're doing something, function or something like that, and
Walk over and pick it up.
yeah, walk to the park and, you know, bring this is what you need and put it in the mailbox, maybe we can. Stir some more interest in having people get them.
so what you're saying is like, as an example, 4th of July just took place. Having a booth at the 4th of July and having the cards ready there
That would have been great.
if they want to order it.
Most of the
Having-
events at that park are not for the neighbors.
Yeah.
None of the neighbors attend those events.
I'm not sure nobody attends, but the majority are not the
Actually,
resident.
But
100%.
I don't see any of my neighbors ever, people that I know. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I
other-
just don't wanna waste, you know, it has to be something more,
The other issue with
Local.
that is that documentation is needed. So they would have to,
Yeah.
number one, know that they're going to the event to bring documentation, like the registration for,
what's the number right now?
How many have we issued? How many have we issued?
go back and look at them.
So as of the minute meeting from this one, April, it says 423 cards have not been picked up from 426 from last month.
Yeah, I didn't count this morning as to what was the,
Okay, but
but I had the 5 that were picked up.
how many did we order? So I have a question. How many units are we behind that gate? 800 and,
823.
how come the budget said 140 something?
Say that again?
When the budget last meeting,
Uh-huh,
I forgot her name,
Melissa.
Melissa.
Uh-huh.
Said, there's 800, and I believe she said 41 units. We divide that when you do the budget.
I want to say the 4th.
Now, that was the recording and
Yeah,
is it 184? For 840 something?
there's
41?
123 properties. I believe the 841 comes from, could be
The lots,
the lots.
Okay,
so all the folios are 840 something, but
Correct.
the actual property.
The actual amount of property is 823.
so 123 residential properties.
Right.
Okay. Behind our guard.
Correct.
And you don't know how many cards we've issued?
I mean, I'd have to.
Do you have an approximate?
I'd have to go back and count them. I did not do that.
Have we issued, do you remember how many there was ordered?
I'm going off the numbers that I gave when I did the last count, which I think you have
April,
in
the
April.
number,
And then I just subtract from the applications. I'm
Right.
not going to every
know.
time and counting.
Do any of the committee members remember when we did this? We ordered X amount of numbers of cards. Do you know if we ordered 800 something cards? Does anybody,
I think that it was more because they just understood that more than one card per.
I know, but I think initially, I don't think they ordered that many, thinking, okay,
Oh.
we'll order as
I don't
we need,
remember.
because
I
it will
believe,
come off our budget.
I believe, and I'd have to go back and look, but I believe it was like 1,200.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
think
1200.
It was,
And there's 400 left over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we can say that out of the 823, 400 properties are not currently using the card.
Something like that.
Approximately.
And I don't know statistically, but I'll tell you, most homes have more than one vehicle. Most homes have more than one vehicle.
Yes,
Many have more than two vehicles.
yes.
And what I heard from SFM today was there is 42,000 vehicles coming into the visitor lane. And I'm gonna tell you, the majority of those people are residents that should be going into the two resident lanes if they have their card.
Wouldn't doubt it.
The reason why I'm bringing that up is because later I'm gonna talk about the post orders, and I heard the conversation about, oh, there's gonna be a line backup. But the line backup's being created by our own residents that are not using two open line residents that have for that. In other words, we got two lanes for everybody that lives there, and you're not restricted to two cards. I think we had initially said you get two cards, not for free. I don't want to use those, but, you know, through the committee number. And then I think the third or fourth is additional, you had to pay.
To you pay.
Something like that. But what I'm saying is if we've only issued a fraction of 1,200 and we have 823 properties, and most homes have more than two vehicles, it's because the majority of the people are going through the visitor lane. That shouldn't be. They should be going through the other two and leaving the guard to tend to true visitors.
And you know that there are property owners because they fly through that
I
and
got
they
it.
fly
I got
by you when you're driving. So
Okay.
the
I just
idiots
wanted to
are all
clarify
our
that.
neighbors.
So JP, I know that you may not have that number today, but if you can get us the number, of like how many was ordered? But like truly is how many have been issued?
Yeah, I could get you.
And then we can kind of do math backwards and have that
Yeah.
conversation.
I haven't, honestly, this hasn't come up, so all I've been doing is just going based off the applications,
I don't know.
whatever comes in and just subtracting it from the previous month where we did the full count. But if you guys want me to do the full count every month, I could do that. as well.
Well, why? I think if you do the full count once, then it's easier to monthly
Then
do
we
it.
subtract.
But I mean, just right now, it's,
Yeah.
because I think everything ties in. The thing ties in is, when do we don't have that info, but SFM said they're gonna work on telling us like a breakdown, right? Between 7, 8 in the morning, this is how many cars. So we have an idea of what is our, let's call it peak times on peak days of coming in and out. And if we're only monitoring the visitor lane, and we can correlate how many units, 823 are behind them, and how many cards have been issued, I mean, we can not maybe to the science, but we can definitely do some math to say, why is the activity so high?
I also think he had a good point in trying to find a solution to this problem, because we can analyze all we want and count numbers, but unless we have a viable solution,
Right.
it's not gonna matter. I understand your point. You want them to
Yeah.
work less so that, and us be more efficient coming through the other side.
Yeah, and.
I get that, but what are our other solutions? What have they done in other locations? Do you know what they've done at other locations to try to get those cards out to get?
I think JP might have, but I'll tell you, I don't know, I'm not saying proposing this, but all of us here represent one HOA behind that gate. So perhaps task the HOA
Oh, okay,
to say, hey,
that's an idea.
you have
Yeah.
X amount of members in your HOA.
Mhm,
If the town, I don't know if this can be done, this is just really off the fly.
mhm.
The town comes in and goes, this is a list of the residents that we have issued it to.
Okay.
So each HOA board member will know, I have, in this case, I have 83 homes. And of the 83, only 10 people have done it, and these are the 10. So as an HOA board, we come in and say, okay, guys, we got all these members, and then at the HOA level, it's like, hey, owners, you know,
Yeah. we can
you have 2 free
every-
cards and eliminate the line and the backup and the bucket.
Advertise it at the HOA level. But
We could do
we
a
get
full
5 people in the
campaign,
meetings.
but we could do a full campaign if you wanted to, with the town and with the HOAs. We could try to push it more through social media.
It's more than just
Put out-
giving them their cards, it's actually having them have their cards to be able to use their cards.
Put
to
out
use
a
that
sign at the
backup.
guardhouse,
That
have you
makes
picked up
sense.
your flicker yet?
Like that.
You know,
I like that.
something like that.
The mail out.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to put the pressure on them to get it done.
I think that I was just saying, if you do nothing different, we're gonna continue the same conversation. Oh, there's a backup in the visitor lane during this hour, and but the backup, if you do the math, it's not by people that. I think the whole distribution of in and outs would change, well, out no, but the ins would, the flow would be different. If most of the residents had their clickers.
But at this point, I think with the LPRs and not taking the pictures instead of writing it down, I don't think there's a backup anymore. It's not, I understand that you wanna get something, and I
What,
do
a backup
too.
to what?
No, she was talking about the ability of the backup happening, because then they were going to offer the idea of now checking driver's license and
okay.
asking for that.
The LPR hasn't created a
That's
backup.
the backup she's talking
No, no,
about,
no.
not the current situation,
I mean,
right? She's not talking about the current.
You're talking about backup if we have to go to the other situation that you're talking
Can't
about?
use,
No,
and no, asking.
The
for
discussion that was had at the last meeting, I wasn't here, but I did hear and listen to the meeting.
Mhm.
There was discussion about, oh, you know, that currently there's a backup certain times. At the gate because of the visitor, there's a back, now having to do with nothing, just taking the picture like we normally do and do that.
It's busier. I wouldn't say backup. It's just slightly busier during when people are getting home. There's more traffic going in
yes.
there.
But that could be alleviated if 823 properties were using 2 open lanes. I have never seen a backup in the residential.
I agree with what I think the solution is, not to force close that lane. I believe it's to expose more ability for them to get the card. So we have to walk to their house, get a list and walk to their house and go, hey.
So I'm saying, that's
They
what
don't
I'm
need
saying.
us.
They say, it's like, what do we do? How do we get them to come to town? It's like, well,
Yeah,
hold on,
exactly,
maybe if
that's
we
what I
were. All of us here are because we're on one of the HOAs. There's only one HOA missing, right?
Which, by the way, now that we're on the topic, no one, in that HOA wants to step up.
Is that Regatta?
No.
Oh, sorry. Is it the other one?
Anchorage.
Oh,
I get a big time.
Oh,
So anyways, just,
Funny.
we're not. The discussion on that was, we're getting an update and I realized when I heard in at the last meeting. And discussions, we come in all the meetings and we're like, oh, we have an access, you know, what's the update? We all kind of chuckle, right? Cause it's the same, or 2 people came in, or 1 people came, you know, 1 person came. It's never been like, oh, 15, 20, 100 come in. So in my head is, if the math is right, and it's 823 properties. And we know how many we purchased originally and how many we have issued. We can kind of come up with, is it more than half the properties that don't have the cards? Is
So-
we can do some sort of estimate as to that. And then at that point, address it as to what can we do as a committee
if
to
we-
get more of the residents on board to the clicker.
If we can get a list,
Yeah,
if
we
he
get
doesn't
this.
have it, we could target a mail out directly to them, specifically for them.
Right.
Do a blitz on the social media, do a blitz with the HOA.
I like the sign that we picked up your clicker today.
Yeah, set up a sign, set up a Saturday. And put it in the mail out maybe as well, and pick a day that works for all those things. And see what, if we move the needle.
So this is just discussion, so please hold the darts,
Okay,
okay? If somehow in the future, this board recommends to is my understanding, all we do is recommend, right? The council is the one that says yay or nay.
Correct.
If we as a committee recommend to say, let's change the post orders of the visitor lane to ask for the driver's license, or whatever the other things that we have been learning now that we can do. Pretend that conversation happens and we all have a majority that way. If I'm a resident and I'm used to going through that lane and I don't give a crap, and I learned that as of this date, I'm gonna start, we inform our residents, this is what's gonna happen, hey, don't get your clicker and avoid that so you can go through these other 2 lanes. Sometimes what you need is the little poke for the people to take action, but if nothing, it's like, oh, well, we're not gonna do this because of this might happen, because this might happen, there's no change happen. So the resident, I mean, everybody is paying more money to maintain, clean, and operate 4 lanes. Of which the majority, I think, are only using 2 of the lanes, the visitor lane and the exit lane, everybody has to go out of. So if we can use our own money, their money, to get them the card so they can use 2 of these lanes that are, I'm gonna call it infrequently used, I'm going just by numbers. If he's saying 42 average, 42,000 are going in and out that 1 lane, and there's 823 homes, and there's only X amount of cards issued, you know, it's like a math problem, like if you have this and this and this, how many don't have it? And I think the answer is gonna be is the majority of the residents don't have it.
Let me ask you this. In the HOA, we do have a capability of finding when there's a problem. Is that something that we could consider? If we have a list of people that have not gone to get their card, can we find them an amount of money and say, by this date, if you don't pick up your card, you're gonna be fined?
They're not obligated.
I
to
don't know the
I
answer,
don't
but I would
think
think
you
the
can do
answer is
that.
no.
They are not
I think you
obligated.
can find them like based on the bylaws and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
I
but
don't think.
So before you get to that point, before you get to stop, right? Because stops is what the detective and myself are, you know, once you conscript the guards to do stops, right? Essential stops, reasonable suspicion stops, et cetera, can offer insight. Before you touch that, because it's a little different thing, let's see, we'll get a list first, right, of the HOAs, have the HOA presence and boards look at it, say, hey, listen, can we enforce that first to see how many we can move the needle downwards on these gates? And then when that occurs, see if there is movement, right? Because I'm willing to go knock on the door if you have a list, by the way. As my HOA, hey, come get the cards, huh? You know, I had time to move that before we even approach other.
so I think it was like, we want a total number that were issued. How many we have left, but is there a way for us to get
Detail.
the names of who has been issued?
Or who hasn't been issued.
I'd rather see the list who has not,
Who have
I'll
not
be
been
honest with you,
and who hasn't picked it up.
I think
that's
there's
not,
a-
that's gonna be very difficult to do.
I thought there was a spreadsheet.
There's a spreadsheet for who's picked it up. Or who's used it.
Well, at least if we can give
Well,
out these 800, well.
But that would be helpful,
400.
because
Yeah, but I mean, that'll narrow down the, I guess, yeah,
Yeah, you get the opposite, if you get who has picked them up.
then we know
Then
who
we know
doesn't
who
have
has
it.
it.
Every HOA would be able to know who doesn't have
Instead
it.
of bulk,
And but then we've got renders, we've got lots of renders in our place.
In a general communication, we can just say, if you do not have your access card. Please, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it can be sent to everybody.
we're considering,
It's sent to everybody.
you know.
This may affect you in the
If
future.
you have not, if you have not obtained, retrieved or
So we would
whatever.
highly recommend.
So I think the request is how many, I know
recommend that
JP's hating me now, but it's okay. I do
It's
it with
okay.
love, I do it with love, it's just for info.
It could,
If we
uh,
can know how many were purchased, how many were issued.
I mean, for
Not
the
just how
names-
many were like, you know, like not this other 400 something number, but just how many were actually issued, and if we can get a list.
and
Of
for the-
either or, whatever is easiest, if it's easier to provide us a list of who has been issued to.
matter of
But
fact,
does it matter
For
who's been
the-
issued? Why do we wanna know that?
Because he made it, he made it sound like it's gonna be more difficult or impossible to give us the list of who it hasn't been issued
Gotcha.
to.
So you're asking for that because, I
Because
mean,
then-
process of elimination, that's what I'm
Yes.
asking.
Right.
Understood.
You get the opposite.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what I was.
So that's
Well,
the
okay,
difference
yeah.
we give the staff.
I don't wanna make it seem like it can be done, it can absolutely be done. It's just not gonna be as simple as it could be. The system that we use is directly at the guardhouse, so I have to connect directly to that computer to get all of the list of the utilizations. So once I get that list, then we could do that and cross-check and
Just a whole list.
Does that list have addresses?
it doesn't have addresses. No, it has the number of the person everybody's card is tagged to a number. Whenever somebody orders an ID, orders a card, like Julie just did, I gave her card that number, that's the UFHIE number, and then it has a bunch of numbers on it. That number I put on an Excel spreadsheet next to your address. And so that's how we've been,
Next to the address.
Yeah. so I said, so
Yeah,
yeah,
we do have the address,
Yes.
because the address is integral.
yes, absolutely, it can be done.
Oh, one thing that's easy to do to the townhouse areas, we can put it on the mailboxes, I mean, I notice. We put notices all the time. So that needs to be fixed for the townhouses.
Is this direction enough, or do I need to motion?
Uh,
I'm always
I-
not
You
understanding
were
if I
at-
need
you
a
were at
motion or it's
C
just a
and half-
motion.
You went to I, right?
I,
No,
You don't have to
I
wait.
had post orders. I'm still on access card.
We're in access.
I wanna know how many cards we purchased, how many we've issued, and now we want a list of either who has the addresses that have not been issued or the ones that have been issued, whatever can be provided to us quicker,
the addresses,
because unfortunately, government is very slow.
No.
No,
not intentionally, I'm
I'm
doing the
not,
best I can.
I'm not saying you, you're not government, you're JP to me.
Okay, so yes, I'll put that together. How many clickers have been purchased? How many were issued? And
And the list.
and the list of addresses that have been
Issued,
issued.
that would be helpful.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, moving on. OPR update.
On my end, I have not heard anything from PD as far as any new hits in your area. I don't know if you could touch more on that. I haven't, when I spoke to Dust, nothing on my end.
Yeah.
What do we mean by hits?
Hits as far as when somebody drives through
Okay.
the area and their tag is a marked vehicle that they're looking for.
So we don't have any,
Yeah, so no criminal hits have gone through
Since our last meeting.
since our last meeting. And then I believe in our last meeting, we discussed somebody was caught,
Right,
so,
yeah, one, it was caught. Yeah.
right.
Okay, next, moving on, speed bumps update.
Uh, the update is the speed bump has been installed. And,
So we should call this speed bump.
speed hump, it's a speed hump.
Well, it's a speed bump.
Oh,
Yeah, that's on me.
Should be
I'm sure that we're calling it by the
Speed
right
bump.
name.
I wanna make sure we,
Should have updated that.
what was the date and what was the date so we can see how it affects the arm stop being hit that much,
The
hopefully?
specific date it was installed,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I sent you the email.
You did.
it was last week, I believe.
it was recently, you know.
So this is on the visitors gate, right?
Oh, you can just say early.
On the
July.
visitors.
Yeah.
It was, July 2nd. No, I actually sent it to you as soon as they, finished installing it, so it's actually right on time. The email was like right afterwards.
That's a good catch. Now we know the date and we can start looking at if there's a difference.
Okay. Moving on, crime report update.
Happy to report that there is nothing, absolutely none of the targeted crimes have occurred within the Crime Lake Section 1.
Thank you.
I don't know if I provided it, I think last time I stated that there was 0 and that was correct, but there was just theft back in February. And it was just like a package theft in the Anchorage. And it was unusual, so. The package was left in a weird spot, but other than that, absolutely nothing.
Sorry for, I don't know what targeted means. Can you explain a little bit what targeted means?
Sure. It would be, what you would consider like more of a serious felony, robbery, burglary to vehicle, burglary to the residence, or theft, or that felony is theft, over 750.
We only have one incident, huh?
Do you have anything, I'm sorry,
And it was
That's
in
really good.
February.
That's great.
It's very
Really,
impressive,
really
yeah.
good. That's really good.
do you have anything you can add about the incident we heard about earlier? About the vehicle following and parked in front and
No, I have nothing further about that. I didn't, I don't get those, for follow-up.
Mhm.
But I know that our officers, are usually very thorough, so they respond, they do as much follow-up as they can at that moment, and then if they feel it's necessary, they'll write a report, just to document, and in case anything else happens in the future, we'll have that documentation, but, nothing else occurred subsequent to that. Suspicious incident.
On the incident that was referred to, thank you. The incident was referred to earlier, so the resident calls the guard gate calls PD.
Was it called or was it while they were entering?
So the resident, the wife enters. And as far as I know, the husband, gives us a call. I would presume the husband was already in the house. And the husband calls us and indicates that, his wife is being followed. And the vehicle following her is parked in front of the house with the lights on. And that's when we, called.
Lights off.
Was anything done to find out what vehicle or what tag? it
Yeah,
was? Because
with a tag.
tag picture?
And
Does the,
We have
I mean,
a tag.
did anything else, like, did anybody tie in the pieces to?
Well, we have a tag for the vehicle that was reported.
Okay,
So since we have the detective here, if you don't mind for the next meeting, can you look into it? To see, because as a detective and myself. So this is possibly a vehicle follow, right? Is it casing to see if someone followed someone from the bank? Or someone followed to see possible, if it's okay. we get
This
a-
happened at midnight.
Well, these type of case follows happens all the time. She went to the bank at the ATM across the street, they just want to follow her to possibly do armed robbery, we don't know. It's not suspicious to me, but since we have a detective here, we can get a case number. Have the detective maybe look into it.
that would
But
be
this-
great.
This could be probably investigated. You understand? Or not, a detective can be able to figure that out. Would that be good?
Date and time at least, if you have date and
We
time.
have a full report, so I'll share.
You have a tag,
Okay.
you have a tag in the vehicle.
And then if she can share at the next meeting, she'll share what she can. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean-
Nothing, so I'll leave that to the detective. If it's okay with the board.
Absolutely.
Yes. Because this type of information, the LPR is gonna help if you didn't have that tag from the guard. The LPR did not pick it up as a stolen vehicle. There's no message from FCIC and CIC, there's no silver alert, yellow alert, there's nothing. However-
If it's instruction to whom, what is? What's just happening?
Do we need a motion for this, by the way? No, it's okay.
just.
This is be part of the LPR thing, yeah, I guess.
I think it's direction to SFM to provide the information, I guess, to town communicate with detectives.
No, she's here, so.
Detectives report back to us.
And is it still in the crime report? No,
Yeah, actually.
It's not the creative
Suspicious
flowchart.
incident. This would be all right there.
But can you tell me what was it?
Do you know if the people were older, younger, like the woman being followed? Do you have any ideas to the resident?
Unsuspicious.
We have the name of the resident, so,
It's in the
and we
report.
have his address too, so
Okay.
eventually we can knock on his door and if you want it.
No,
this
just,
is police can do.
we'll piece it together, I think, once we get a little bit more info.
Yeah, well, we do it without mentioning the residents' information, obviously.
Yeah.
Just follow up to make sure,
So
because
I'll share, and I didn't think of that, so thank you, because that's great about putting this together. I was thinking is, how do we have the car, and like, what else do we do with that?
Mhm.
I can't tell you the date, because I don't remember, because, you know, you put out of sight, out of mind, but, I was walking in the evening, and, I don't know, in the corner. Walking back, and there was a white BMW SUV. Who then slowed down and just basically stayed like 10 feet behind them. A prick out of me. Then all of a sudden, because they noticed that I'm doing this, and then they just peeled out, like, you know, like raced, but it's a cul-de-sac, so in my head, it's like, they don't know it's a cul-de-sac, they got that cul-de-sac in here. Then they went to the end of the street, which is another roundabout, so now I'm still in the corners, obviously I'm walking, and now it just sits there. Turns around facing this way, talking. Oh, these are punks, in my head, oh, they're punks, then I thought, oh, maybe it's Uber, oh, maybe they're lost. And they come back around and now they do the same thing to me, I'm shitting in my pants, I'm not lying. So I went into a friend's house, as if I lived there. But that resident friend of mine was away at Disney with the kids. So I ended up calling the police. They had me on the phone, don't move, stay there, don't move, then stay there. And then the line disconnected. I stayed there for like 20-something minutes. The car was still there, but this is about 8 houses down from my house. Now a car comes and visits my neighbor. Like 3 or 4 people come out, it was like visitors, and that's where I bolted. Cause now I have people right next to my home. And I think the police showed up from my house, cause I stayed there through the window looking. Police took more than 25 minutes before they came. I don't know what happened. Because at the end of the day, they never called me back. I couldn't give them the tag. I did tell them the description of the tag. When you're nervous, you can't see anything. You don't, I just know it was a white BMW, whatever. What I'm saying is, this happened not too long ago. Now, what was it? I don't know. Was it punks? I don't know, but that happened to me, not somebody else's report. So when you say somebody, it sounds like somebody followed them in and they stand, you're right, it might be a private detective doing that, but I kind of want to know the info. I'm curious as to what vehicle it is and that kind of stuff.
So with regards to police enforcement, we have to protect the privacy of all those involved, right? This car did not hit on anything. However, we believe that the detective, because she knows when and where and what type of information, for that effect. Generally, bad guys do not drive BMWs. Generally, however, we know for a fact that they do rent them. And they do not know our neighborhood. Or they like to see a girlfriend around the corner and have no idea. Or mistaking you for a girlfriend on the corner.
And I forgot, I remember reading on Ring. The next day, somebody said something very similar to happen to me. Careful with whatever,
Oh, yeah.
white BMW, and happened the next day, and I thought, oh crap.
So that one definitely should generate a police report. We have multiple incidents. We need to know that information. Because like I said, they could be scooping up.
Yeah.
One case number, targeted crimes, non-funny crimes in February in our area. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm letting you know right now, this is what I do for 27 years as the district station commander. That to me just phenomenal. That's just crazy numbers. You can't, statistically, it's not vital, but it's here. I think the detective would like to keep it that way. If we have the same BMW around the corner, we need to know, like yesterday. So if you have that information, then we'll just we'll file it away somewhere in case something does go down, where it's an armed robbery, right? Or some type of we used to have a crew that all they targeted was high-end vehicles, BMWs, like really Porsches, and if you watch the news, that's what the time would have access to. So. Okay.
Thank you,
All right, well, yeah, we know.
thank you.
Ben,
Landscaping update.
They're on target to be changed in, I believe, the next month. Yeah, in August. I don't have,
been changing.
They were just changed.
Where they
It
were,
was changed in April, I think.
it was changed in April, they're gonna get changed again.
the lady was talking about the leaves, that's just
Right,
the growth of normal, that happens.
yeah.
And then they changed it and cleaned it all up.
I don't
That's
have
when
it.
I just saw them putting it,
No, they just put it in.
yeah, this week.
I know they were doing.
They put it in. They put new flowers in right before July
They put
4th.
them in and they left the week.
I have been out sick for the last 2
Oh.
weeks.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
no,
They-
they're
they-
in-
The little bit and
They
put 'em in our-
actually did it, I think, right before July,
Yeah,
maybe
right
July 3rd.
right before.
They were, they mowed the
Right,
lawn,
right.
they were
They got
cleaning
it
all that up,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that the resident said it, because that way it's not always me complaining, but that was one of the things that I was gonna talk about, because
Okay.
they planted them all, they're red and white, all very pretty, like this area, and then here we have those bushes that start this way. But like between the new planting and the bushes, it is all weeds that are taller,
Hmm.
like it's like they put it and like, I don't see this, I don't see this, I'm like, it's
I'll get them,
frustrating.
I'll get them out there.
It's right there, it's not like it's hidden, you got, where, it's very obvious.
I'll get them out there.
Okay. All right, one at H, guardhouse umbrella update.
So, if it's all right with you guys, I'd like, George and John from SFM to have a moment to talk about it.
George Gonzalez, Operations Manager, and of course, I work with John. As you guys know, the heat outside has been no bueno for anybody. Our officers, of course, have been, asking, on a daily basis, hey, is there any possible way to we get an umbrella? Of course, I, reached out to John, to JP. I told them, what was going on with the officers. some of the officers actually, came in front, came in fact. On a sidebar and basically said, hey, look, I have some residents that want to purchase an umbrella for us. That's it. Hold on that, because again, everything has to be approved. So, I reached out again to JP and he said, hey, let's just wait. Hopefully they get approved. But regardless, if it gets approved, we are actually willing to purchase an umbrella for them. Nothing colorful, of course, something that's more of a serious color, either black or blue. Not too big either, because they only have a small space. So that is something that we are willing to purchase for them, because I know that summer is not as brutal. So we just want to, make them feel a little bit more comfortable in that sense.
So
So-
what was the umbrella that was there recently? What was the umbrella?
That was an umbrella that they put on the door as
Okay.
that's kind of, they kind of did it as a last case resort, because
Okay.
it was very hot and she was sitting here.
So there's no official umbrella yet?
No,
That is a little more.
Well,
It
I'm
was not
looking at
approved.
I'm looking at the minutes of April, and it said, we motioned to request an inspection and quote, to access functionality and aesthetics of the guardhouse to provide optimal working environment and safety. I seconded the motion.
Because we talked about where
And
would
discuss the
we
motion
put
to
that
request an
umbrella?
umbrella. To
Because-
request an umbrella and pole that blends into the color of the guardhouse to provide shade to the guards.
so we got quotes for
Oh, okay.
for various things. Having said that, anything that you would do would have to go through the community. SFM is offering to pay for an umbrella themselves. And they would cover it, and the vote would end here. If you guys want it, the town has no issues, as long as the board is okay with you all putting the umbrella. That is the simplest way for them to get this tomorrow, putting the umbrella tomorrow, versus if you go through all the loops and that you need to do, the guard is gonna be,
What,
there's gonna be a long term.
But I have a question. We started this conversation. We started this conversation in April,
We had a budget meeting.
okay?
In your budget,
Yeah.
there was nothing additional added to the budget to be able to afford to add an entire inspection of the guardhouse, to do any improvements or anything like
Whole
that.
process.
The whole process. Whenever you have somebody go in and inspect and say, okay, well, it's gonna cost you. We wanna do all these improvements, there's a cost to that. You don't have anything on your budget list to go ahead and move forward with anything like that.
But we had given direction to get.
You can give direction, but if there's no funding for it, there's nothing that can be done.
Oh, but I know we have contingency funds.
So you wanna move, but that's something that you guys as a board has to decide. You wanna move to, in the budget meeting, that was not anything that was brought up. To take from the contingency, put that in motion.
JP, with all respect, we left a meeting in April and there's a motion. And it passed. All members voted in favor.
Right, and I looked into it.
For the town to provide to us quotes on this umbrella that perhaps wasn't discussed at the budget meeting, but. So we did a motion and basically it's like, Helen, we don't have the information because it's not, you didn't put it in the budget, so we didn't talk about it. The reason why I say that is I understand SFM wants to, purchase and put it, but I don't know what they're gonna purchase and what they're gonna put. So in my head is.
Well,
There's also there's an aesthetic issue, because there was one meeting not too long ago that this had a full room. And the residents came here to complain about how bad the gate house area looked. It was a full house, and the majority of the conversation was, what can we do to make that area look better? The reason why I say that is, we resolved the umbrella issue immediately to cover them from sun, but I don't know what they're gonna buy. And so then later, we're gonna have another room here, it's like, oh, that looks like crap, now, it's sort of like putting a Band-Aid to take care of
They
stuff.
have,
No, I have to look at it because again, the aesthetic part that you mentioned
Right,
right now,
right.
because they only have a specific space.
Right. So I'm saying the direction we gave is, I guess, the question I have for you, and I'm not knocking it down, is I was part of the motion to take care of the umbrella for the people. So it's not that I'm against the umbrella, it's asking you, JP, do we have this information?
I have the quotes, which I provided. I believe I sent you all the quotes for the awning, did I not?
I'm not aware.
Okay. Let me go ahead and put them up here. All right,
At this point. We're playing catch up again, and if we like the numbers, it's gonna take a process to get, and it's, the offices are. vacant.
I don't mean any disrespect with the decision that you guys made or anything like that. I looked into it. The price that came back to go ahead and do a review of the guardhouse is not a realistic price for you to do, given the constraints that you have to go ahead and do it right now. Realistically, if you're asking for my recommendation is if you are going to do that, it's gonna have to go through the entire community to be voted on, to get a decision back of the, before we even get to the awnings or the umbrella or anything like that. Get a decision on the building itself, which is, that was the motion. The motion was to get a quote for the facility itself. Not the umbrella, not the anything else. It was a motion to get to do what would it take to redo the entire facility?
No, that's, well, that was
That
part
was-
of the motion, but I'm reading here, I'm going off the minutes that were approved earlier. Ms. Costa motion to request an umbrella and pole that blends into the color of the guardhouse to provide shade to the
Correct.
guards. That was not a whole
But
remodel.
the
of the
entire
whole-
motion is the entire motion. If we're not breaking down the motion is the entire motion. The motion was to get a price on what it would take to redo the entire guardhouse. Move the door of the guardhouse. Am I wrong in anything that I'm saying?
No.
Am I wrong in anything that I'm
I
saying?
don't recall,
Okay.
and I'm not listening verbatim, I'm going off minutes.
That was
We kind of-
under-
remember the
understood.
conversation.
Okay.
I remember that.
Because we talked about the side door and everything.
Moving the guardhouse door, the bathroom, redoing the bathroom, things like that. You wanted to do a renovation similar to what we did with Royal Oaks Section One
That's
and Royal Oaks East.
That's correct.
That was the conversation. And that is how everything began, from that conversation. To do that, you need to hire an architecture to come in and look into the facility. You don't have that as part of your budget. You would have to add that part to your budget to then be able to proceed with that. It's not just simply taking from the contingency. Because again, that would require that, now you're talking about a capital improvement. So it's not simply adding an architecture is a capital improvement. It's part of the capital improvement project. So you would have to get approval for that from the entire community to even move forward. We sat here in this budget meeting, and there was no discussion about any additions. As a matter of fact, you wanted to remove some things. So I understand your frustration.
No, no,
At the same time, we need to be realistic at what we can do for the guards.
Mhm.
What can we do for the guards that is realistic? And SFM is willing to go ahead and foot the bill to pay for the umbrella from their funds. So it doesn't come from the residents' pockets. And in turn, takes care of the guard. All they're asking for is your approval, and they're willing to work with you on the look, the aesthetic, and making sure that it is aesthetically pleasing. All they're doing is coming to you and requesting that you look into this option. If you go any other option other than this, you have to go through the entire community, which could take months to even get approved.
So, may I?
Yes, you can.
Minutes. Both Royal Oaks guardhouses have been remodeled. Motion,
You have to go through the chair.
You guys can continue arguing the same point. But what we have here is guards that are baking. We either handle it immediately and let them take care of it. Deal with the complainers, with the colors or whatever, we can ask them to get the best color or closest color to resolve the issue. Or we can go and take 3-4 months through, and then it'll be winter, and then we don't need it. I mean, they're baking, it's an immediate need, we need to act now, I believe, so. Can we please move on and make a motion on the floor and resolve this?
So I'm not allowed to discuss what we're talking about.
We've
That-
already been discussing
No,
it.
no, I want to clarify something, because there's something that's not been done. I said, we're all here, no one gets paid. I have better things that I could be doing. I sat in a meeting in April, just like most of us did. And the minutes are here, and it's not what JP said. There's 2 motions in this one paragraph. One was Ms. Padron said, can we get a quote to access the functionality and all that? Which we never got, that quote, whether it's on the budget or not, to talk in the future. I seconded that, and we all voted in favor. Second thing says, Ms. Costa motioned to request for an umbrella and pole that blends into the color of the guardhouse to provide shade. That motion was seconded by Ms. Babing. All members voted in favor. So it was 2 motions. I understand. My question is during the last budget meeting, I guess nobody brought it up. Town never came back and gave it. Now we're talking about an umbrella. I was like, well, we did discuss that. Did you get any quotes? Yeah, I have quotes. And then you said, no, the quote was for the whole remodel. And it's not. The quote was to talk about the umbrella and the poles. I get it. We don't have any money. But don't say it was one big motion and I'm making the big deal. It's like, I was here and we did all this thing and we did that and nobody came back with information. What I find is we motion, and then unless we go back to the minutes and come back and say, hey, did we follow up with this? Like we motion and we come back to the next meeting and says what we discussed and what we were supposed to get back from direction, a lot of times gets lost in the translation unless somebody brings it up. So I don't want the red tape. My concern is if they're willing to do it. Again, like I said, I brought up the motion to bring up the umbrella in April, so it's not like Helen's opposed to that. On the contrary,
I'm not saying it didn't
the
happen.
whole issue is, hey, can we get quotes? Can we get colors? So it doesn't look like a Band-Aid in the middle of
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying we're here now, and this is where we're at this point. So we can either continue or we allow them to do this, and I say we allow them to do this. So I'm willing to make a motion for SFM to provide the umbrella and whatever else they're gonna put there to the best aesthetic as possible, the closest aesthetic as possible, so we can resolve the issue as soon as possible. Do we have a second?
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
I'm gonna put on the screen right now. The awnings quote that I got, which was part of the umbrella quote. I'll put it on the screen for you all to see. And
Are we under guardhouse umbrella update?
Yes.
Who's second?
Well, you look, the first motion I mentioned was Ms. Padron's request to get an inspection or a quote of how we access the functionality and aesthetics. I know you said that's a capital improvement and so forth, but do we have any numbers that we can discuss in the future?
I don't have it. I have the conversation that I had with the gentleman. And he gave me a ballpark, and from that ballpark, I knew it wasn't really something that was going to be just him going out there and doing it was thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yes, but you can provide that information.
Yeah, I
for
can
the next
provide you
meeting?
that information.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So if you're gonna pull up quotes on an awning. Or is that umbrella?
No, some umbrella canvas there at the bottom.
I got them for everything. I got them for all 4 guardhouses. I got the colors. I got. This was one of the guardhouses. This is not your guardhouse, but this is what it would look like as an example.
But I think we discussed that that wasn't gonna be enough for what this particular courthouse needed. because of the
Correct.
angle of the
We
sun.
talked about an umbrella,
But an umbrella that tilted, so you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
so you guys know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those that tilts, because it's that direct sun in the morning coming up and getting them, I
Yeah.
get that. Okay.
so a motion passed, may I address, would you have something already you've scoped out, since you've already approved the expense of it?
You sent me a picture.
Yeah,
Do you have the picture with you?
I do not have a picture of me right now.
But when we select it, we'll share it with JP so he can share it with all of you.
Okay.
And once you give us the okay, then we'll move forward and buy. it.
Well, we gave you okay for you guys to do that.
No, what I'm
The
saying
question
is
here
on the aesthetics.
What do we look at? Yeah, what have you seen or what have you? Do we have an option to look at now? Like, oh, this is what you guys have in mind?
What I'm planning to get is something as what she mentioned, was it something that tilts,
Right,
something that you could move,
Right.
the actual head part.
right,
That of course, if the sun is sitting this way,
Yeah,
you
you
tilt it.
can,
right.
It makes it easier,
I
and
think
of
that's what
course.
we
Yeah,
had
because
discussed.
there's not much space there, that was our other.
Yeah,
concern.
right, and then the other thing is to kind of like, for example, when it comes like, after dark, to kind of like close it and then tilt it down. So
Right.
it's not so much like,
Understood.
that's what I'm trying to find.
So I believe this was the,
It says fixed awning.
this is a quote for all the guardhouses, including yours. That'd be,
But that's a fixed awning. Right? I saw fixed awning.
Miami Lake Section 1.
So I think that if we pass already for them to purchase the umbrella, whatever that cost that you pulled up there.
Okay.
My point, JP, was is that we had done a request and we didn't get that information and now we bring it up. They're gonna pay for it. Hallelujah, that's great. My concern is what's it look like? Because I don't wanna come back here and have a room full of people as to, oh, whatever, and then they're not gonna look at you, they're gonna look at us. So I understand when we were here, we even talked about that, an umbrella that can tilt and the probably, you can flip. So concept wise, I understand was if you have provided a picture or you haven't provided a picture, you're looking,
No, I already have provided one to JP a while back.
okay,
But of course now with, the whole aesthetic situation, and of course we have to look at the space that they have. Only, so hopefully I could get one that is, that it's kind of like extends outside and is comes back in. Rather than just, standing up.
And I think the color should be beige, like the color of,
For the guardrails.
yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. We have an I now. For post orders. Hopefully that be.
We had roll out by staff. Added to the listing.
it was security guard post orders.
And then. The two items added to.
Are we finished with the umbrella? Or JP, are you looking for something or can we move on?
You're always welcome to move on.
Moving on, security post orders.
Yeah, so, I added this on because I heard, I listened into the committee meeting last time that I wasn't able to attend, and I know that. JP came in on behalf of the town and said that the deputy town attorney had said, I guess legal opinion is that we're allowed to ask. For information at the visitor lane. Then I heard the discussion that ensued. But if I don't, I'm not quoting, but I'm going off memory. The JP said that, deputy town attorney's opinion was that we were able to do that. And that is it Major Gonzalez? I don't want to say if they said they recommended it or they supported it or something in that way, and I know the detective, Nieves was here. And then the discussion ensued, and I know Paskey, with all due respect, I know that you our police background and so forth, but you're a member and I wanted to come back and say, what I don't know if you have enough information or what is the recommendation of, like I said, Major Gonzalez, or what is it the recommendation of the police that can to patrol our area? Based on changing the post orders, asking for, because I heard him say, it's like, oh, it sounds like there's a legal thing because you're, I don't know, like holding or stopping them, and so can you share a little bit?
I would be happy to, but actually, he doesn't just have a police background, he's actually has expertise in that
Okay.
area,
Love it.
and he's currently in traffic, right? You mentioned.
So,
major traffic, controlling traffic.
Does that mean that you do not want to answer the question?
No, I will, I just want to begin by saying that he's much more, of an expert in that area and everything else that was discussed on that day.
And I didn't mean it for any disrespect.
No, not at all.
But I know that he been asked, where did the initiative come from? So he wasn't aware of what was.
No, I wasn't aware.
Right, and so when JP said Major, is it Major Gonzalez? I don't wanna be
Yeah.
Yeah, Major Gonzalez. And I don't know if the words was like, was in favor of it or recommended it or supported it, or it was something to that sort. Major Gonzalez is not here, but I know you were here, and when the conversation ensued, and if it did, I didn't hear it in the audio, I didn't hear any input from you on behalf of the town. So I wanted to bring that up because I wanted to hear if you had anything to add. Because I heard some negative things like, oh, well, you're gonna create a big traffic backup, or you're gonna be able to, or, you can't really detain somebody or hold them and ask them for that kind of question. Hi.
What is the,
Is it a meeting today?
Ms. Costa?
Yes.
What was exactly, what is exactly the question on?
Number.
So you didn't hear the
No.
meeting, you weren't present either. So, JP at the end of the meeting, or toward the end of the meeting, brought up and said, that he wanted to address something that the deputy town attorney issued the legal opinion. And if I misquote what you said, just jump in because I don't need to do that. That they issued a legal opinion that we can now ask, the guard can now ask through the visitor lane, like, and they can ask for people's driver's license. They can ask them where they're going, like an added layer of security. And there was no additional cost to anything. And then the next thing that I remember hearing is that Major Gonzalez, which is, I guess,
The new guy.
the chief top cop in our area, no?
Yeah.
Either was in favor of it or recommended it or something to that sort. And also referenced that Detective Nieves, yes, it was here. And then everybody started talking and you can hear the report. The motion fails, so it's not like but obviously we can continue to talk the conversation. What I found, if I was present, was I wanted to hear what the police
So
officer.
that's the question today.
That's the question
Okay,
today.
so I wanna
I know
know
Major
what's
Gonzalez
today.
is not here,
Thank you.
but Detective Nev isn't here, and I wanted to know if you have anything to add to. Is it recommended, or what are the concerns, or if we were to add the asking for driver's license, which is what it started to do, or anything like that? Do you have anything to add to?
Because I was here and I did hear a lot of the pros and cons that were discussed, it was a pretty thorough discussion. And what was brought up was all very valid. Every layer of protection can be helpful. I do see that there are quite a few cons because of the possible delays, the possible conflicts. People saying, oh, I have to show here and I have to show there. The difference between your community and another community that was implementing it, it's an extraordinary difference in the number of vehicles that go by. The concern for the security guards at the entrance, to me, that's almost one of my main concerns because you are opening up to confrontation for them. And I know it's done in other places, but they may be they do have the authority in private communities to stop and to prevent entry. So it does raise some concerns in that aspect. Of course, our major supports anything that provides any extra layers of protection. And so he supports it in that sense as well, that, he welcomes to offer our services in any way that we can assist and if it comes to that. but your conversation last time was thorough and the points were valid. If I were to add something, then from the cases that I investigate, so that's just, to me, that would be pretty much mostly what I could add. And from what I've seen, the details that I've, covered in my investigations, it may have deterred one case that I can think of perhaps, but in the gated communities, most of the time, the entry is made in different ways. So I would have to say that your concerns of weighing out benefit to cost will maybe higher because of all that's involved in allowing, you know, in the whole process of requesting the identification.
What's the cost then?
All
I
of
misunderstood.
the cons that,
Oh,
not
the
financial
cons, not the
costs, the
cons,
cons, yeah.
So you believe that after you heard the discussion amongst us, that perhaps, let's call it the top cop? Or that Van Lang Lakes would say, no, I don't think that's I don't
why-
think it's as beneficial as
I'm
we'd
afraid
eventually got.
I'm afraid
I don't think she can speak on behalf of
Yes,
Joe
I
Gonzalez.
can't
right?
speak, correct, correct.
No.
I definitely wouldn't speak on his behalf. I'm giving my low-level opinion based on what I've seen and what I heard here. But definitely, I'm not prepared here to speak on his behalf.
If the chair. That's the chair, I can add my 2 cents on this, please. So Major Gonzalez is not here. I cannot speak on behalf of Major Gonzalez. However, I can speak on the behalf of, the major at the Northwest Station. Which is, I just got my new assignment, so the Miami Lake Station, I'm the major there now. For the cost of aggravation of the contacts with the private guard, right? And the possible traffic delays that may happen for this one case number that we've had since February, that's at that's where we're at right now, if that makes sense. The instant cases that you were talking about before, every time you make contact, that's gonna go way up. Is it really worth it? When we have the LPR, we have the gates, we're literally this statistically anomaly of one case. I don't think it is in a target crime case, it's a felony case of a theft of a parcel. And that's my opinion on this as a major, police major of the Northwest District. But if I'm not a major, if I'm a regular resident, my concern is just the traffic jam up when you stop the cars. That was it. If you know what would add.
The bottleneck.
Yes,
Would be insane. Yesterday I was coming home from 57 and going through Miami Lakes Drive and somebody decided to fix the road. And detour everybody. And I go all the way around and come into 186. Now, I don't know if that was on purpose and who thought of that one, but it made me think of this situation with the guardhouse, like. Where our guardhouse is not placed in a convenient place. It's not like Lake Lowman, I think it is, where there's not Lowman, where there's a long stretch of road and then you could do something like that. We have one straight this way, one this way. And
And there's other communities in there that have to go through another level of security once they go through that,
That's true.
and that's often frustrating.
I got that.
Yeah.
My whole thing is if, I think that this bottlenecking that is happening now, what I hear from you guys. I guess I don't enter and exit the community during those times, because I really haven't experienced it. And I've been living there for several years. Is I think that if the access card and the residents start using those other 2 lanes, I think the amount of people going through the visitor lane is going to decrease significantly. And at that point, maybe the bottlenecking that we're all worried about is different. I also know there's options. If SFM, which he committed to give us, you know, are there times of the day where that lane is hit more active? Maybe we can tailor something. Maybe during major events. I'm curious to see on July 4th, if the numbers going in through our visitor gate just increase just because of the event that happened in the corner. There's options that we can come up with and maybe alter our post orders on very unique situations. In other words, to try to deter whatever might happen. To me, I live where I live and I'm very happy. There's no crime in essence. but one crime is too many for me. So to me is, I don't need to see 3 to happen before I want to take action. And if it doesn't cost us anything monetarily, weighing all that, I'm not arguing that the points that you guys all discussed are valid. I agree with you. That would be madhouse. But I think that to say it's madhouse, forget it. I think it might be madhouse because we have 830 something homes and all those people with just in my block, I think the average amount of vehicles in every house is at least 4. And they're all coming in through the visitor lane because if not, the numbers of cars issued would have been a lot higher. I'm just saying that there's things to talk. I want to continue the conversation.
If I may,
Yes.
I think someone brought up, perhaps, during a certain time frame, maybe 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. or something like that, that someone wanted to, suggest that, to try it at a certain time frame. I don't know if that's something you all wanted to discuss.
I added it to have, because I didn't know how else to address it with you, and I understand you can't speak for Major Gonzalez, and I know Patsy said it, and perhaps, I don't know, JP, if is it possible to, I know he has a lot better things to do, is there maybe a possibility he can come to the next meeting and we can maybe address him at the beginning so he can leave?
The major?
Yeah, as to that, as to the post orders and the concerns that we all talked about. This is a conversation that I'm not. In my head is, I've always been, and everybody knows I'm not shy to say it, is, to me, the ordinance says we're supposed to have 24, 365 days, and we don't have 24. We don't have 24 because they have breaks, they have lunch and so forth. Then we have the LPR, okay, that's great. And so if there's now with the town opinion, legal opinions as to, we can in fact add a layer. It's just an appearance, you can't deny it. But I heard you say that if someone denies it, they're like, okay, let them go. I don't know if you said there was a button, but there was something where it kind of tells PD that this vehicle went in without doing it.
It's something that could be added.
Right, so in other words, there's other things that we can do so that we stay at 0 crime. I know personally, I'm driving around, I want to enter a community, as soon as I see a gate, oh shit, I can't go in, I don't even try. So in other words, presence of, oh shit, they're asking me for a driver's license. You know, it might deter something, to me, it's one incident is too many. So it was just a conversation, if we can consider bringing him in so that I know you can't speak for him.
Good request for him. I'll get back to you on, if it, obviously, if he's able to make it, I'm sure he'll absolutely be. So,
Thank you. That's all, I don't have any motions on the.
Any other discussion on it?
Is he a captain or what?
Major.
Okay, moving on. New business. Trees at the guardhouse.
So the trees at the guardhouse, there was a tree that came down.
Yeah.
We did go ahead and stake it, and it's back up. But, I added this to the agenda after speaking, with Helen, with regards to it. I don't know if you wanted to touch more on it, if there was something that you wanted to bring to the agenda, regarding it.
I'm not sure, to me, it was part of the landscape, but I think what I brought to your attention was, since we replanted those trees, which has been a while, it's been years. I don't know if it's like, did they not put them in deep enough, is it like this much of dirt, and then there's gotta be a reason why these trees at this point in time are still tumbling over in that way. They're not rooted, there's something going on to rooting it. I'm not a arborist or anything. I planted trees in my house this big, which are now this way. So I don't know if it's that, are they planted in this much of sod and then underneath is maybe concrete, and that's why the roots are. There's gotta be a reason to do it, because it happens way too often. Haven't counted how many, but I know we planted that, what? More than 2 years ago? Do we have an idea? Anybody? Remember? It's been more than a year.
When we did the
It's like
lights,
2
right?
years, 2 years.
Yeah, lights.
At least 2 Christmases.
Right, so I'm saying, that's for those trees to have been rooted already.
Well, if they get knocked down next time, can they not stake the bottom of it if it is that much layer and concrete? Can they drill down, stake the bottom of it, and feed it in the hole?
I think
Uh,
the problem is the lack of soil, it's all rock.
yeah,
Right.
it's
That's a big.
part of it. The reason why this one fell in particular was because the wind that doesn't typically come from that side
Hmm.
came from a different angle, and we had it staked in one way. This time we staked it all pretty much every way, so it shouldn't happen anymore.
Okay.
And I guess if after being staked the way it is now, it happens again, that's something that you guys can revisit, like what alternative option should we change the tree itself?
So one fell,
Yeah,
what about the other one? You guys
Recently.
said, did they restake that one too?
So,
That's fair. We'll see what happens and we'll go from there.
yeah,
We added one more
it was very windy.
in new business.
Oh, NSD mail outs. I wanted to, I'll be sending out, in the coming month or so, the mail out with the budget, to all the, property owners. Typically what we did last year is we also sent a survey. Is there, the reason why I wanted to speak with you guys about it is get your feedback on if there's any questions that you wanted to be added to the survey. Other than the typical questions, are you happy with the guardhouse? You know, what is your, are you happy with the guard on the scale of 1 through 10 or whatever? You know, those are the questions that we would put. Are you happy with their services? Are there any particular questions that you would like to be mentioned in the questionnaire? And is there anything else that you would like to see sent out in the mail out? Whether it's like we talked about,
Right.
maybe a letter
Do you have a
stating.
copy of the survey?
Yeah, can we?
I haven't,
Can we have a copy of the one from last time?
uh,
Can you email it to us so we can
Yeah, we
read it
really
over?
have,
and
yeah,
analyze
like,
it?
Work from there.
5 responses
we had 5 responses and
last year.
There were 5.
they were very generic questions. They were very much.
Right.
Are you happy with the services? Are you happy with the, I think one of the questions was, are you happy with the quality of flowers? Are you happy with the quality of the, landscaping? And then just overall different questions about the guardhouse and the guards.
And then we can also, like you said, add big bold letters about the cards.
Yeah, so like I said, we could do like, I could put together, if you guys wanted to, I could put together a letter. Like, or an ad, if you will, hey, have you picked up your flickers yet? And
You
put
can put that in that
on it.
mailer. You put in that same mailer.
So that's an option, like that's something that occurred to me when we were talking earlier, is that'd be something that.
That would be good, in order to minimize the people that go through.
You're
the
sending out a
visitors
mailer,
fees.
you
The residents should be
Definitely
having
clicker
a card.
info
Let's
on
put
there.
something together
Put the
for us
clicker
and
info.
then we can add, we can approve it on an email and send back our
Is
comments.
the survey only like a yes or no, or 1 to 10, or can it be like a question that requires them to write a response?
It's either or, it's a Survey Monkey, so it's
So it could be
very,
a combo?
it can be a combo. One of the things that I was gonna mention to you all is, this is our opportunity, at whenever we do these mail outs once a year. Typically the budget is sent and a survey is sent. One thing to keep in mind is, when we're talking about capital improvement, we're looking to get feedback so that we can provide to the council that feedback as far as if there's anything that we want to see improvement on. One of the things you've discussed, the updating the guardhouse, right? This would be an opportunity to come up with in the questionnaire. Would you like to see improvements done to the guardhouse? Would you be willing to pay for upgrades to the guardhouse? Those are the types of questions that I'm bringing to your attention as
I see Helen smiling.
things that if,
No, because the thing is we understand, it has, to like the straw ballot, so we all here represent the community, but like, I agree with you. I'm sure, I don't know how many people show up to your HOA meeting, but we're lucky if we get one straggler and they come and they hate something, and the rest is just us. But I mean, if the by the way, if we get 5 responses, but at the end of the day.
I'm not
if
telling you
I
that
don't
you're
want-
gonna
if
get
paper
100.
will hold whatever
It
you
is
write on it, so.
participation.
So if we add, I would, I think what we commonly ask is, some people come in and they told us, hey, can we make it look better? You're right, a question that refers to, are you interested in remodeling or whatever, and understanding that that will have an increase on your NSD thing, and see what they say. I would also say, I'm sorry, this is gonna be my soapbox is, are you interested in securing a 24/7, 365 days a year guard, which as of this April meeting, we had asked SFM to provide us with quotes as to adding a second guard with a rover. Was that provided? That was from the April one.
I didn't get the quote.
But I mean, maybe there's a generic question.
We have, as part of the contract, we have the pricing.
Maybe there's a generic question as to is there interest to add a second guard with a rover so that we can guarantee there's a 24, and let's see if 800 and something people respond or 5.
Let them jump.
And let them jump and say absolutely not. And Helen will, that's a step off her soapbox.
This is your opportunity, if there's any capital improvements that we've discussed in the past. This is your opportunity, put them all on a questionnaire and get feedback.
Send us something. Put something together, send it to us, and then we can add.
And the one from
Send it back
last
to you.
time, you can work from
How
that.
about the post orders? Is that a question you can put in there? Are you in favor of having the visitor lane ask questions or added to?
You can put anything you
Let them
want.
say
You can
absolutely
put
not.
anything
Anything
you
you
want.
want, anything you want, anything you want.
So what I'll do after this meeting is I will send you last year's, because again, I haven't worked on that yet, because I wanted to talk to you guys about it. I will, send you last year's. Again, the questions from last year were very generic.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys want to add to it, send me your questions that you would like to see added to it. And I'll go ahead and I don't know if you want to have another meeting beforehand. I don't know how you want to do this.
Honestly, we'll add our questions, you can blast us again and we can approve it through the email, right?
Yeah. I could just add it to
Simplify it, let's, we don't have to wait.
Okay, so then, yeah, so I'll send you the questions, the questions from last year, and you send me back your questions, and then we'll send them out. That's part of the mail.
Okay, I wanna make a motion to open, public comments, we have a latecomer. Do we have a second?
And reopen public comment,
Yes.
motion
I make a motion
to
to open,
reopen.
correct. Do we have a second?
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? State your name and address, and please, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. I apologize. I was at 7:30, so my apologies. Claudia Lucis, 8220 Menteith Terrace, section 1. So, I was here at yesterday's meeting, last night's meeting, where the conversation came up about, in particular, the budget for section 1, okay? One of the things that was talked about, and I'm sure that all of you have been involved, is the issue of the LPR cameras. What was finally determined yesterday, what came to light yesterday through the extensive conversation was that the LPR cameras was a town-wide idea. It was the town that wanted the LPRs. However, it was cheaper to go through the homeowners associations, okay, to purchase said equipment, because through an association, there was a special pricing plan. We could lease it, or so-called the town could lease it, okay? What has transpired instead is that the different homeowners associations have now taken on that tax burden just themselves, even though there is a greater benefit to the entire town. Councilman Brian Moreira yesterday said, well, how about we talk about reimbursing, right? The homeowners associations for this cost. Because what they really did was saddle the homeowners associations with the cost of those LPR cameras and the fees. There will be a recurring fixed expense on the different sections every year for $6,500. All because the town did not want to pay for it. I don't know if you guys were aware of this. I'm bringing this to light. Because in essence, okay, it's kind of what happened with the park. Only Miami Lakes residents were going to pay for the $25 million park when everybody else was going to be able to use it. This is kind of the same scenario. Everyone's going to benefit from the system. You want to go LPR? Okay, go LPR. It's the money should be coming out of the general fund, out of the town's funds, and not necessarily the homeowner associations. That would free up, at least with this, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, with this section, $6,500 every year
$6,500 per.
per
HOA?
section.
Per sec.
For section one, for us, for Miami Lakes section, it's 65, yeah.
For us.
So, but that's, you know, as I'm hearing the conversation of wanting to do this and that, it's $6,500 that really the town should be covering. It should not be on the homeowners associations. I don't know, I think they're gonna go back and they're going to see if there's a mechanism by where they can reimburse the HOAs. That's going to be up for discussion, and by the way, that's gonna be town-wide, because it's not fair for only a select group to be paying for these improvements. Now, in that conversation, they did say, for you guys to know, that the town manager suggested, well, if we go that route, then we are going to take those cameras out of where they're located right now and put them where Major Gonzalez had recommended, which was on 154 and 82nd or 154 and 87, okay? Kind of the main thoroughfares. So just something for you guys to know that, and you know, when they were, the discussion of the LPRs came on, there was, you know, an active push for the associations to take on that tax
Sorry,
burden.
very sorry.
Sorry,
Your 3 minutes are up.
oh,
You wanna
sorry,
give her
my
more-
apologies. I'm used to my little clock. Sorry.
You have more?
I'm trying to, no, I don't think so. I just wanted to kind of bring that to light, because I think it's important for you guys to know the process, and just give me 30 seconds and I'll wrap it up. That it's something that you guys should know, okay? Because I don't know if you were presented with that option. The town was fully aware that they would get a better deal if it went through the homeowners associations. I don't know if you guys were ever reimbursed for that money.
I wasn't here when this was originally, so I'm not sure.
Right.
So the committee they're driving this, they're gonna inform us?
The town council, I'm assuming it's going to come back. There's a budget process that's going to take place. JP, I don't know if you know when that budget workshop is. I think they're rescheduling it, but that's going to be a subject of conversation as to whether or not they consider reimbursing the different sections of the town that have the special taxing districts or neighborhood services.
I believe it's August 5th.
Okay, so that's going to be something that's going to be discussed there, because obviously now the town has to find that money in their general fund, which is really where it should have been to begin with. Yeah, but that's where it should have been, when it's going to service the entire town and not just saddle a select group, select pockets of the town to really foot that bill for that. And that was something that was clearly stated at yesterday's meeting. You can see it. And the discussion, it's a spirited discussion that goes on about that. But I think it's something that you guys need to consider and maybe ask for that reimbursement, because it's double taxation at the end of the day. Thank you, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Any other questions for you?
Motion to close public comment?
Sorry?
Motion to close public
Do
comment?
we have a second? All right,
Second.
all in favor? Motion passes. Do you have anything else you want to bring up?
Yeah, regarding the LPRs, right, if you track down the money. So if this board continues to fund the maintenance cost of this. At the end of the day, the LPR is gonna stay where it's at and we get the benefit for all the HOAs. If we let the town go through their budget, as a major myself, I will look at the crime stats. And I can tell you right now, it's gonna be 87 Avenue, 154 to catch the most, 82 Avenue, 154, all the major intersections coming from Hialeah, unincorporated. The benefit will be for not only the town, actually for all of Dade County, any cars that pass that. So that is, just follow the money, and who controls the money? If it stays within NSD gate, our LPR is gonna be there. While our one case number is gonna be the same. And then if you relieve that for the $6,500, it's gonna go, if I was the major, I'll look at my geo crime stats. Right, and I'll put them here, 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 and
I mean, that is the point. In this
Yeah.
case, we decided where the others
that's
are.
correct, that's correct,
Right.
because
We're
we're
going-
funding
he
it. That's
decided-
correct.
he
That's
said
correct.
to decide where he wants it.
So we had a
Exactly.
group of vocal, people who came in last night.
Yeah,
that,
I
you
saw
know,
it.
Okay, gotcha. There you go. That was my 2 cents. Lena? Yeah.
No. We're not,
I'm just asking if you have
Agenda's over.
anything else, if you have anything else, no?
No.
Okay, make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
By the chair?
When will be the next meeting?
Oh, yeah.
I always
When is the
ask
next
that.
meeting?
Second, motion to adjourn. Pardon?
You have a second?
Sorry.
All in favor?
Oh, before, let's get it on record, the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so, this was the last meeting that was set up from that year-long, you remember how we had set this up through every quarter
Mhm.
a meeting? This was the last one. I am going to renew it to start again, October. So our first meeting, for every quarter would be October 14. However, I always had you guys scheduled in at 6 p.m. We had it at 7:30. We would have the Lakes Maintenance NSD meeting at 7 p.m. They have requested to have their meetings up at 6 p.m. I think it's only fair to let them, since they went a full year at the late shift, to let them go at 6 p.m. And I've pushed you guys to 7:30. Do you guys have any issues with that before I finalize the time?
Can we alternate?
This would be alternating.
I mean, like
They all, they,
1 month and 1 month.
well, I mean, I think we could do that. They did a full year of it. So I think if we're gonna alternate, let them have the full year and then alternate from this.
You were the 14th is.
Yeah, Columbus Day.
October
Holiday.
14th?
Yeah.
So it will not be October 14th. We could set it up for another day, October 21st. Or October 7th. What would you guys prefer?
Gonna be out, but something, and I just. Let me get the information.
It'll still continue to be the second Monday every quarter,
Okay.
every 3 months.
I will not be able to attend on the 7th. I know that most people would be very happy, but just letting you know.
No way.
So I would say
But
the
the second
21st.
Monday is, I mean, we need to have at least some routine as to like when, like. second
It's
Monday.
always, going back to last year, it has been the second Monday of every quarter
So
month
the
at 6
second
p.m.
Monday in October will be the 14th, which is Columbus.
Right, we can't do it that day, so we can move it,
Is everybody
that
okay with the
specific day, we
21st?
can change it.
Is everybody okay with the 21st? And it has to be on a Monday always.
Doesn't have to be a Monday, to, the next day is the council meeting, I think.
Yeah.
There are other uses of this room, and so I'm trying to schedule it in, so the best way to schedule it in was to put it at this time on a Monday. Fridays are available. I don't know if anybody wants to use their Friday.
Nope. Monday's good.
Come back and I can confirm them. I'm out.
I can leave it open for now. You guys are penciled in for a day that obviously is not
Okay, so
gonna
we
be
don't have
possible
anything.
right now. It will have to be
Next
rescheduled
meeting will be
regardless.
scheduled in October.
But it'll be October and we can always,
Yeah, can you push an email out, and I guess everybody's gotta check their calendars.
Yeah.
Stuff and all.
Yes, please.
okay. All right, was there a motion to adjourn?
At 8.
We're, we are adjourned.
Thank you.